Hello and welcome to this live broadcast about why traditional revision plans don't work for many students. Now, if you were expecting this earlier today, I'd firstly like to apologise. I was called to go and pick my daughter up from school because she wasn't feeling very well, so I had to deal with that then. So I'm going live now. So today we're going to talk about why traditional revision plans don't work. And this is a problem that I have seen for many students. And I experienced it myself in the past as well. So I'm going to share on this broadcast how students are traditionally advised to plan revision and how many of them do it because they're advised to do it that way. Why these traditional revision plans don't work, the consequences of failing revision plans for many students, and what revision plans need to include instead. So if you're excited to hear what I'm going to talk about in this broadcast, please like this video right now. And if you're watching live, say hello in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. So, first of all, let's talk about how students traditionally plan revision. So, I did this as well back in the day when I was revising for exams. And the way I planned for revision was basically to make a grid and plan out every topic for week after week after week in time slot after time slot after time slot. So I knew precisely what I would be doing at what stage of the revision process. Now that is still what many students do, but invariably what happens is that students to get to about day 2 or day 3 and they find that their revision has gone off track. And that is because they don't understand the weaknesses in this style of revision planning. So what is wrong with this traditional style of planning revision? Well, the first thing that's wrong is that it's really hard to estimate how much time a particular topic will need for revision. So there might be some topics that are really quick because you know them really well, or they're really short, or because they're really simple to understand. And then there will be other topics which are much longer, much more difficult to understand, and just basically need a lot more time. So that is the first thing that students get wrong about, the first reason why traditional revision plans don't work. The second reason is that humans are bad anyway at estimating how long things will take. Now, there are things that we do repeatedly and we learn roughly how long they will take. So, for example, I have been writing blog posts for nearly 7 years now, and I have a very good idea now of roughly how long a blog post is going to take me because I'm very practiced and experienced at that. But for most students, they haven't got that practice and experience of knowing for each individual topic how long each one is going to take. They might begin to get a better idea of how many times they need to go over a topic before they truly understand it, but that's not the same as really knowing for each topic how long it's going to take to revise. So that's the second reason why traditional revision plans don't work. It's basically that all humans have a poor ability to guess how long things are going to take. And I think we all do this in our lives. We're like, oh, I'm just going to be 10 minutes and it takes 20 minutes. Or I'm just going to be a couple of seconds and it's 5 minutes. We're all doing it all the time. So we know that that's true. Now, the third reason why traditional revision plans don't work is that students often don't leave any wriggle room in their revision plans. So this basically looks like planning in every single slot, and then because they don't really have a good idea of how long each topic is going to take, they there's basically no wriggle room in their revision plan. And this means that as soon as one topic takes longer than they had planned for it to take, that means basically the whole plan goes out of the window. And this often leaves students feeling like failures because they're not sticking to their revision plan. But actually, it's not them that's failures, it's the plan that's failing, and they just need a different approach to planning. The final reason that these traditional revision plans don't work is that students expect too much of themselves. So GCSEs and A-levels these days are a marathon, and with a marathon you really have to pace yourself. There is basically only so long that you can keep pushing yourself very hard. And if students don't have a good understanding of how much revision is sustainable for them on a daily, weekly, monthly basis over a long period of time, their revision plan is invariably going to go off course because they simply can't keep up with what they are expecting themselves to do. And we all want students to arrive in the exam hall feeling confident, but also having the energy and the creativity to really approach the challenge of the exam in a really positive way. And despite all that, forget exams. We want them to be happy and, healthy, have good mental health, have good physical health, and all that kind of thing. So if students are expecting too much of themselves and pushing themselves too hard, that's going to have negative impacts, both in terms of their reaching their academic potential, but also in terms of their whole lives. And the final reason that traditional revision plans don't work in terms of planning for a really, really long time in a really, really precise way is that you need to experiment to find out what works for you in terms of revision. And we are all different. We all learn in slightly different ways. We all have different preferences for the order that we do things in. We all have slightly different rhythms. It'd be nice if we were machines and we could just churn things out, but that is not the case. So each individual person needs to learn their kind of revision strengths and weaknesses and how to adapt around them to revise successfully. And if you've made this great big long revision plan that's from now until the actual exams, then that is not giving you the scope to experiment and really understand what works for you. So if these are the problems with traditional revision plans, and do let me know in the comments if these are things that you recognise or have experienced. I would love to hear from you. What are the consequences? Well, basically, if you've made one of these revision plans and you start going off track, very quickly students will become demoralised and demotivated. Because they've spent so much time planning their revision and they just, when it doesn't work, when they can't stick to the plan, when the plan, goes off track, that's really demoralising and demotivating for the student. And we don't want that to happen. We want them to feel positive and like they can do this thing. And the second consequence is that students often get burned out, bored and overwhelmed when they plan in this very rigid way where they're expecting far, far too much of themselves. And, as parents or as teachers, as carers, we do not want our young people becoming burned out, bored and overwhelmed at all. So what do we do to help our children or our young people create better revision plans that actually work and support them in their goals, but also in their mental and physical health? So the first thing they need to do is identify how they learn best. And as I've already said, we all learn slightly differently. There are some basic principles to how human beings learn, and I've talked about that on previous live videos. But within that, there are tweaks and, adaptations that we all need to make for the way that our own brains and our own psychology works. So the first step in creating a successful revision plan is really understanding how you learn best. The second step is prioritising, revising the topics that will make the biggest difference to your overall grade. So many people will go in and start right from the beginning of their textbook or their class notes or of their exam specification and just work through it linearly like that. Now, that's okay, but actually, if we want to get the most bang for our buck from revision and at the same time recognise that every single human being only has 24 hours in a day and 7 days in the week, there's a cleverer way of revising, and that is to go into the topics that will make the biggest difference to your final grade, and that means prioritising those topics. The third step to making a successful revision plan is planning times to focus on subjects, not topics. So in traditional revision plans, you might be like, I'm going to do meiosis and mitosis for biology in that slot, and then I'm going to move to oxidation and reduction in chemistry, and then I'll do some trigonometry for maths, and then I'll do some King Lear for English, doing specific topics in specific time slots. Actually, what I suggest is planning subjects into time slots and doing what you can for that subject in that time slot before moving on to the next subject in the next time slot. And the reason that I suggest doing this is that you then don't get that awful feeling like you haven't done enough, you haven't finished. You've got to make that choice between finishing this topic but going over and not getting to the next topic and like throwing your revision plan out of the window, or not having done this topic properly. So just having subjects planned into time slots is much more effective in my experience. And then the fourth point about making a successful revision plan is being really realistic about what you can do or how much you can do. Now, people often ask me, how much revision should you do in a day? And for many of us, we've got February half term coming up next week, and I'm sure that I'm going to get a question. I'm doing a revision Kickstarter workshop on Saturday. People will be saying, how much revision should I do in a day? And the answer is that there is no one answer. You have to work out what's sustainable for you so that you do not burn yourself out and you can keep learning in a healthy and productive way. So it's all about being realistic about what you can actually achieve in a certain time slot or in a day or in a week. So those are my tips about how to make a successful revision plan, and they are different from the traditional revision planning advice that's out there. So now it's over to you. If you'd like a little bit of help with this, I'd love you to download the free chapter of my book, The 10-Step Guide to Acing Every Exam You Ever Take. You'll find the link for that in the description for this video. And you can find it at lifemoreextraordinary.com/free-chapter. The other thing that you can do if you'd like a bit more hand-holding is sign up for my revision Kickstarter workshop that we are holding on Saturday morning. So that's Saturday, the 12th of February, 2022. And in this workshop, it's very practical, it's very hands-on. I will guide all the students who are there, GCSE and A-level students, through creating a personalised revision plan that works for them. So we will do in-depth exercises on things like how learning works, what their particular best revision techniques are going to be, prioritising their particular topics of what they should revise, rather than going through in that linear fashion that I just explained doesn't always work and doesn't always make the most sense. And we'll also be talking about long-term revision strategies to keep them going with their revision in a manageable and healthy way up until the exams in the summer. So if you're interested in that workshop, I would love to see you there. You can find out more. There's the link in the description for this video, and I'll just say what that link is as well. It's lifemoreextraordinary.com/revision-Kickstarter. So that's lifemoreextraordinary.com/revision-Kickstarter. And if you've got any questions about the workshop, please do let me know. I've been running them for, I think this might be it's the 4th or 5th year, I can't remember, I can't do the maths right now, but I've been doing them multiple times a year for several years, and they're always really popular, and students find them really motivating and go away, excited and well equipped to get on with their revision. So we're doing it right now so that people can have a productive half term of revision and go back to school really confident in the work that they've done over the half term holiday. Okay, I really hope you found this live broadcast helpful. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions. If you've enjoyed this or found this useful, give me a like or a heart, and I really appreciate that. And if you know somebody else who would find this video useful, then tag them or share this video on your Facebook timeline. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and goodbye.